The A330 has fire detection and extinguishing systems for the engines and APU, smoke detection and fire extinguishing systems in the cargo compartments and lavatories, smoke detection in the avionics bay, and portable fire extinguishers for the flight compartment and the cabin. The engines and APU have individual fire detection systems. Each system consists of two identical detection loops, A and B, mounted in parallel, and a fire detection unit, FDU. Each engine is equipped with two fire bottles. The discharge of the bottles is controlled by an associated agent push-button switch. The push buttons are located on the fire panel on the overhead panel. For the APU, there is only one fire extinguisher bottle, thus only one associated discharge agent push-button switch. The guarded fire push buttons provide fire indication and the means to isolate the corresponding system. Their use will be shown in the Fire Drills module. The test buttons are used to test the operation of the respective fire detection and extinguishing systems. You will perform this test in the normal operation module. In addition to the indications on the fire panel, there is a fire light for each engine on the engine panel located on the pedestal. These lights help identify which engine is on fire. There is an additional fire light for the APU and a guarded APU shut-off push button located on the external power panel. For the avionics system, only smoke detection is provided. Two detectors are located in the air extraction duct under the forward cargo compartment floor. The indications for avionics smoke are located on the ventilation panel in the cockpit. Lavatory smoke detection consists of one smoke detector in each lavatory linked to the Smoke Detection Control Unit, SDCU. The SDCU transmits the signals to the Flight Warning Computer for warnings in the cockpit and to the Cabin Intercommunication Data System, CIDS, for warnings in the cabin. In addition, each lavatory waste bin has an automatic fire extinguishing system. A total of 5 sets of 2 smoke detectors are installed in the cargo compartments. There are 2 sets of detectors in the forward compartment, 2 in the aft, and 1 in the bulk cargo compartment. Each detector is linked to one of the 2 detection loops. The SDCU acquires signals sent by the detectors and sends them to the Flight Warning Computer for display in the cockpit. The cargo smoke panel is located on the overhead panel and provides indications on cargo smoke. Two fire extinguishing bottles are installed in the forward cargo compartment. Bottle 2 is equipped with a flow metering system which allows a slow discharge over a period of approximately 4 hours. Each bottle is equipped with 2 discharge heads, one for the forward cargo zone and one for the aft bulk cargo zone. Each agent push-button switch controls the discharge of both bottles. The bottle 1 agent is discharged in the corresponding compartment within 60 seconds, while bottle 2 discharge is flow metered and lasts about 4 hours. The fire extinguishing agent is discharged via 2 nozzles in the forward compartment, 2 nozzles in the aft compartment, and 1 nozzle in the bulk compartment. Finally, there are portable fire extinguishers in the cockpit and the cabin. Number, type and locations depend on local regulations. One of the first things to do before the first flight of the day is the APU fire test. Before you perform this test, you have to make sure that the APU fire push-button switch is in and guarded, and the agent light is extinguished. Let's perform the test now. Push the APU fire test push button. Observe that the APU fire push button switch illuminates red and the squib and discharge lights come on. The master warning light illuminates and the continuous repetitive chime sounds. An APU fire warning appears on the ECAM. And the APU ECAM page is automatically displayed. Before leaving the cockpit to perform the walk-around, you have to check the emergency equipment. Ensure that the fire extinguisher pressure is in the green area. During the walk-around, you have to check that the APU fire extinguisher overpressure indication, red disc, is in place. This is an indication that the fire bottle has not been discharged. Note, there is no such indication for the engine fire bottles. Back in the cockpit, we continue with the engine fire test. Note, this test is not necessary during a transit check. Push the engine fire test push button. Observe that the engine fire push buttons illuminate red and the squib and discharge lights come on. The master warning light illuminates red and the continuous repetitive chime sounds. The associated warning on the ECAM appears, and the fire lights on the engine panel illuminate. Note, the engine ECAM page is also automatically displayed. You are in cruise flight. Everything is normal when suddenly this happens. On the engine warning display, the message Engine 1 Fire with the associated procedure is displayed. The illuminated fire push-button switch on the fire panel and the fire light on the engine panel confirm this indication. And the system display shows the corresponding page with the nacelle temperature pulsing. The pilot flying maintains control of the aircraft and asks you, as pilot non-flying, to perform the ECAM actions. According to the general task sharing, The pilot flying remains responsible for the thrust levers. After confirmation from the pilot non-flying, he sets thrust lever 1 to idle. Engine 1 is spooling down. Engine 2 is accelerating to compensate for the thrust loss. You now have exactly the same situation as for an engine failure. So the pilot flying sets the thrust lever 2 to MCT. Continue ECAM action. After having switched engine 1 off, the engine 1 shutdown procedure is shown on the engine warning display. Since the intermediate pressure and high pressure valves close and the generator is no longer operating, electrical and hydraulic are shown as secondary failures. After the engine has been switched off, you can now go ahead and deal with the fire itself. To be able to push the engine 1 fire push button, you have to do something that is not part of the ECAM procedure. Lift the engine 1 fire push button guard. No, lift the engine 1 fire push button. Push the engine 1 fire push button switch. When released, the fire push button switch arms the squibs, shown by the white indications, and closes fuel, hydraulic, bleed and pack valves of engine 1. Simultaneously, an automatic countdown is started on the ECAM. This is to allow the engine to further slow down in order to increase the efficiency of the agent. The next line of the ECAM procedure calls for the discharge of fire extinguisher bottle 1. Perform ECAM actions. The discharge light illuminates on the Agent 1 push button. This means the fire extinguisher bottle is depressurized. It's now time to inform air traffic control. Since there is no feedback to the flight warning computer, this line will not disappear. All indications confirm that the fire is still burning. A second countdown now starts. This one is 30 seconds long, in order to give the first agent enough response time. If at any time the fire stops, the engine 1 fire message will disappear. Agent 1 managed to extinguish the fire. The countdown for Agent 2 stopped immediately. Notice, the Engine 1 fire push-button switch is no longer illuminated. The fire light on the engine panel is now off. The engine fire procedure on the ECAM has disappeared. And land ASAP has changed from red to amber. Since the next steps are part of different chapters, we will stop here and proceed with the next failure. You managed a safe landing and changed the aircraft. You are back in cruise. Everything is normal, but unfortunately, it is one of those days. On the engine warning display, the message "Forward Cargo Smoke" with the associated procedure is displayed. The ECAM conditioning page is automatically called. And simultaneously, a red smoke light on the cargo smoke panel illuminates. On the cargo air conditioning panel, an amber fault light illuminates on the forward isolation valve's push-button switch, meaning that the forward cargo inlet and outlet isolation valves are closed. The isolation valves have been automatically closed in order to isolate the forward cargo compartment. Note: these valves are not represented on the ECAM conditioning page. The pilot flying will ask you to perform the ECAM actions. Perform ECAM action. On the cargo air conditioning panel, a white off light illuminates on the forward isolation valve's push-button switch, meaning that the forward cargo inlet and outlet isolation valves have been manually selected closed. After review and confirmation from the pilot flying, continue ECAM action. Continue ECAM action. Notice the corresponding indications on the cargo smoke panel. A white squib light illuminates on the forward agent push-button switch, and a white bottle 1 light illuminates on the discharge indicator, meaning that bottle 1 has discharged its agent. Note: the bottle 2 light will illuminate progressively, in accordance with the flow meter discharge of bottle 2. After review and confirmation from the pilot flying, continue ECAM action. On the ECAM conditioning page, the associated valve is now shown in green, meaning that the valve has been manually selected closed. As bottle 2 is now discharged, the white light bottle 2 appears on the cargo smoke discharge indicator. Notice that both bottles have been discharged. Thus, there is no fire agent left for a possible aft cargo smoke warning. Note: expect the smoke warning to remain after agent discharge, even if the smoke source is extinguished. Gases from the smoke source are not evacuated, and smoke detectors are sensitive to the extinguishing agent. This is a demonstration of a failure of the engine fire detection. You are in cruise with the aircraft operating normally. Click on the forward arrow to activate the failure. On the engine warning display, read the title of the failure. If one of the 2 fire detection loops of an engine fails, an ECAM message is triggered. After review and confirmation from the pilot flying, clear engine. On the status page, the failed loop appears amber in the inoperative system column. Nevertheless, the fire detection is still fully operational because of the system redundancy. After review and confirmation from the pilot flying, clear status. Let's see what happens when you lose the second loop. Click on forward arrow to activate the failure. On the engine warning display, read the title of the failure. If both loops or the FDU have failed, the fire detection is not available for the respective engine or the APU. After review and confirmation from the pilot flying, clear engine. On the status page, the fire detection of the affected engine appears amber in the inoperative system column. After review and confirmation from the pilot flying, clear status. Crew awareness and a close monitoring of the respective engine indications are now required. Note, should both loops break within 5 seconds, a fire warning is triggered.